Hi, I'm Todd Clippinger, and welcome to the American Craftsman Workshop. This is my latest project. It's a shaker-inspired bench. I not only built this, but I designed it as well. And before I ship it out, I want to use it to share with you some of the things that I had to consider while designing and building this project. The first step in designing is research, and you can do your research through books or through the internet. What you're trying to understand are the particular elements that define a style. And those elements may be materials, the proportional relationship of one part to another, or very specific shapes. For instance, this arch that I cut in a leg would very specifically be noted as a shaker element. Once you understand the elements, you can design a piece of furniture to fit your needs and capture the essence of the style that you're trying to portray. Let's talk about the specifics of this bench. This one's 4 foot long. The seat is at a very standard 18 inches high. I found that the backrest seemed to be most comfortable when it topped out at about 31.5 inches off the floor. The drawers are not native to the shaker bench design, but for me it was a very practical and a very natural decision to add them, because underneath the bench there's plenty of room to store boots and shoes. The drawers added a wonderful location to store things like hats and mittens. I think that the overall addition of the drawers is very compassionate to the shaker design aesthetic and philosophy, and that is to have very practical furniture that is very unadorned. If you notice, the drawers have a simple finger hole to remove them, to pull them out. There's also no mechanical hardware. This makes it very simple to place your items in the box, and even a child can take the box and replace it into the bench. And so I think for that reason, the addition of the drawers was a very natural decision. When it comes to the joinery, I didn't bar myself from using modern joinery methods. I have biscuits in this, and everywhere that you see a black walnut plug, there's actually a screw. Now, Sam Maloof used screws in his chair, so I figured I could use them in my shaker bench. But I think that actually through mortise and tenons would be wonderful. On the drawers, I actually have through dovetails. And one of the neat things about the dovetails is that I variably space them. And then what I always like to do is add a small pin, a small dowel that just penetrates the first pin and part way into the dovetail, and that keeps it from coming apart. The dovetails could be assembled and locked in with the pin without any adhesive whatsoever, and they'll never come apart. Next, I want to share a couple tips that will set your project apart from mass-produced furniture. And the first thing that I can recommend is go to a non-industry standard thickness on your materials. My bench seat, the leg, and the backrest finished out at 15/16. Most often you'll see 3/4 of an inch as an industry standard. Another decision that you can make in your project is look at the drawers. On the drawers, I used a single board so the grain runs continuously through, even though they're separate items. And one of the things that I did was I very strategically placed some sapwood in the project. So actually, as you see the sapwood run through the top of the drawer and it tapers up, that also highlights the fact that it's a single board running from left to right through all the drawer faces. Let's talk about the relationship of the parts one to another. And this is where you really add some visual interest. The seat overhangs the leg by 3/4 of an inch in the front and 1.5 inches on the side. I didn't use any formulas to arrive at that. I simply took the parts and moved them until I came to a visually pleasing arrangement. The drawer bank assembly, I wanted it to be submissive to the seat and the legs. And so I recessed it by 1/4 of an inch, but I also made the material at 3/4 of an inch thickness. So this assembly down here actually appears slightly thinner than the seat and the leg. Also, the drawer faces, they come out flush with the vertical members of the drawer box assembly, but these also kick back a strong 1/8, 3/16 from the face of the horizontal member on the bottom and the top. There's a very practical reason you have to have the top piece and have a piece right here on the side. As you're removing the drawer and replacing the drawer, you need some clearance from the seat and the leg. So adding this member here and up here provides clearance that is necessary for ease of removal and installation of the drawers. Now I typically pay as much attention to the details in the back as I do on the front side of the furniture. The backrest kicks up 1/4 of an inch over the leg. You don't want something like that coming together flush. And then the backrest has this perpendicular support piece which keeps it straight. And you don't want this to flush out either. But the offset here is about 3/8 of an inch, and this is approximately 1/4. That variation in the offset also creates a little bit of visual interest, so that it's just not the same setback all the way through. Also, I did the similar sort of thing down here for the seat. The seat board, which stops in the middle of the leg, and that looks about the best. There's about a 1/2 inch offset to the drawer box assembly, and then the horizontal pieces on the top and the bottom have about a 1/4 inch reveal, and then you have the back. The varied stepping of the reveals creates some interest. And notice too, the board in the back of the drawer box assembly is a figured piece of wood and is just as strikingly beautiful as the seat. Not only do I pay a lot of attention to the back side of the furniture, but I pay a lot of attention to the underside. As you strive for greater excellence in your craftsmanship, people will start to judge your work more harshly. They're going to start looking on the underside. They'll try to determine, did you put as much effort into the finish and grain matching on the bottom as you did the top. Also, I've already had people pull the drawers out and feel the inside of the drawer box assembly. They want to know if the finish is as smooth on the inside as it is on the seat board. These things are very important to me in maintaining integrity of craftsmanship throughout. So when the client pulls the drawer box out and they happen to dust off the inside, I don't want it to feel like a bunch of sand was trapped in the finish. So I just want to warn you, the greater level of excellence you strive for in your craftsmanship, the more harshly you'll be judged and critiqued on your furniture. So that will also push you to perform to a higher level. Now my goal today was not to share with you exactly how to build a shaker bench, but to share with you some of the principles and considerations that I had to think about while designing and building this piece of furniture. Because it's the principles that you can take from one piece of furniture to another, regardless of the style. And that's really what I want to put out there for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it was helpful and informative. And until next time, be safe in your own shop.